What's up guys, my name is Liam and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Razer BlackWidow V4. This is a low profile wireless mechanical keyboard, and though on my channel I mostly cover rapid trigger Hall effect style keyboards, I do feel like there are some applications where a keyboard like this could be more beneficial for some users. So in this video I'll be breaking down how my experience has been using this so far, and hopefully by the end of this video I'll be able to help you decide whether or not this could possibly be the perfect mechanical keyboard for you. So let's check it out. And before we get started today, I did want to let you know that this was sent out to me. However, everything you'll be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. So before we do get started, I did want to let you know that included inside the box, it does come with a USB Type A to a USB Type C cable. It also did come with some documentation as well and some stickers, but then it also does come with this adapter right here. This is just so you can plug the 2.4 gigahertz wireless receiver into it if you did wish to use it wirelessly, or if not, you can just plug this directly in the back of the keyboard if you prefer to use it wired. This does come available in a couple of different variations. As far as the form factor goes, that does come in a full size. It also does come in a TKL form factor. You also do have 3 different switch options when picking this up. You do get the option of the Razer green switches, which are a little bit more on the clickier end. Then they do have the orange switches. Those are tactile switches. I actually did go with the yellow version. These are just the linear version switches. I do feel like this keyboard, there'll probably be a little bit more appeal for people to go with like the clickier style of switches due to the fact that all of the rapid trigger keyboards out there are using linear style switches. Just my personal preference, I've been using linear switches long before rapid trigger Hall effect keyboards even existed. So that is why I did actually go with the linear option myself. But I'm just going to take you through a really brief walkthrough on just the overall layout of this keyboard. We'll come back over here to the buttons in just a little bit, but starting up here over at the top, you do have your USB-C connectivity over here in the top left-hand side. And here's a switch where you can switch between using this in a wired mode or switching it over to use it while being in wireless mode. Back over on the rear, they actually do have storage here for the 2.4 gigahertz wireless receiver. If you do have the hyper polling dongle, with this keyboard, you can actually hook it up to the keyboard and it will go up to a 4,000 hertz wireless capability, which is the stock receiver out of the box. It only goes up to a 1,000 hertz. I'll show you the setup for that in the software when we jump into that here in just a little bit. But the layout on the back of this, you do have the rubberized feet, 2 at the top, 3 down here at the bottom. This has honestly been gripping really nicely to my desk as I've been using it. It also does have flip out feet. And I've seen a lot of people talk about the advantages or benefits that you can get with having a low profile keyboard when it comes to gaming. For me, I don't really find it necessarily being that way, as I do actually have to use these feet just with how thin this is. And we'll go ahead and bring you over here to the front. The thinness of this keyboard is actually pretty incredible. It is just sitting at 18.5 millimeters of thickness. So they actually have an image on their website breaking down the thickness of this. When you have a penny standing up, it's actually thinner than a penny is. And with having especially a larger size form factor keyboard like this, the reason that it has been unusable for me without the feet is because like this thing sits just completely flat to the desk. And honestly, with how my fingers are, I kind of found it harder reaching for some of the keys, and it just has such a flat feeling. Just for me personally, I'm not sure, maybe if I invested more time on it or something like that, I'd be able to get used to it a little bit more. But again, having that angle there definitely made this keyboard quite a bit more usable for my preferences anyways. If you are somebody who does actually game on your PC, but you game from a couch, or you don't have a desk in front of you using some kind of weird setup like that, maybe you game a lot on your PC while you're using a controller and you do like to use your keyboard from time to time. I have been testing it out using it as a lap keyboard, and honestly this thing works perfectly as a lap keyboard. It just sits in your lap nice and comfortably, especially this larger form factor. But some of the other differences that this keyboard does have comparing it to the TKL version, I don't have the TKL version in front of me, but it also does have these 4 macro keys up here at the top, which I'm actually a big fan of because they're not, you know, getting in your way if you're somebody who does play WASD. I do kind of like how they're up here. Then over here, it does have these multimedia keys as well, the pause and play and then you can skip and reverse back on tracks. Also do have the volume wheel right here. You can move it up or down to adjust the volume, and press down to mute. For the other keys over here, you do have your HyperSpeed multi-pairing device button right here. Also does have a Bluetooth functionality, so if you are using this wirelessly, you can switch between 3 different Bluetooth devices. Also an AI prompt button right here. You do actually have to have Synapse open for this to work. This is the battery indicator button over here. If you were to press it once, it'll show you the battery life that does start to drop down the more that you do drain your battery life. And another thing that this does do is if you do hold this down for 3 seconds, it'll actually turn off the backlighting on the keyboard. And if you have the polling rate on this set to a higher polling rate, like 1000 Hertz, for example, it will actually drop the polling rate down to 250 Hertz to extend the battery life up to 980 hours. And I'm not sure if it's working right now due to the fact that I don't have this keyboard plugged into anything with the dongle. But if you wanted to switch it from the power saving mode, you can just press and hold down on the battery indicator again, and it should swap it back to how you originally had it set up in the first place. And I'll go ahead and show you an example when we jump into the software, but just so you know, all the keys on this keyboard are reprogrammable except for the volume knob, and then these 2 buttons right here, and then the battery indicator button over here. But the AI prompt button, these functions right here, and these keys right here, all these you can reprogram them to any type of setting that will allow you to do so inside of the Synapse software. For the sound profile on this keyboard, using these linear switches, honestly, it does kind of feel and sound a little bit clacky. I'll go ahead and show you guys a shot right here of what the internal foam structure is like inside this keyboard. This isn't something that I wanted to open up myself. I do imagine that most people that pick this up, this isn't going to be a type of a keyboard that you are going to want to mod. But really quick, just to give you an idea on what the sound signature on this is like, let's go ahead and drop a really quick sound test. So here we got to look at the settings inside of the Synapse software that you can get with this keyboard. I'll go ahead and demonstrate some of these keys here for you really quickly. I'll just click on them and just show you some of the various different types of different keys you can program this to. Then right underneath this, if we were to scroll down, you do have the gaming mode down here. This is just so that it will disable some of your keys like the window key. Next up, you do have an explanation here for the HyperSpeed multi-device pairing. And then they also do have a key switch optimization down over here as well, where you can change it either over to a typing or a gaming profile to further reduce the latency. Over here on the left-hand side is where you do have accessibility to change the polling rate. And then this also does have snap tap functionality. Pretty cool that they did add this, considering the fact that this is not a Hall effect keyboard, to give you a little bit more responsive inputs if the game that you are playing does allow for that. Next up on this lighting tab is where you can do simple things like adjust the brightness. They have different types of presets that you can choose from. I've been using just a static color. Just so you know, you do have to have Synapse open in order to use this setting. If you do close it out, it's going to just default back to the original RGB settings. You can also switch the lighting functionality off as well if you do wish to preserve the battery life while using this wirelessly. And then over here on the final tab is where you do have accessibility to the power options, where you can dim the lighting or go into some type of a wireless power savings mode. And then finally, here's a short explanation to the active power saving mode. That is where I demonstrated for you guys. You hold down the power button for 3 seconds, that it will enable this. All right, guys, so that about wraps things up on the brand new Razer BlackWidow V4. And very clearly, this keyboard isn't going to replace one of my main Hall effect gaming keyboards for first-person style shooters. Though, if you don't prefer using rapid trigger keyboards, this could also be an option for you. For me, I kind of like having the additional multimedia key functions, the full-size keyboard if this is something you do plan on using wirelessly, switching back and forth between multiple devices. Or like I said, I even enjoyed using this as a lap keyboard. I do feel like this is still a solid option out there. I did forget to mention the build. It does have an aluminum top plate right here, but the rest of this keyboard, like this top piece and the back, on it is plastic, but all around the build on this does feel pretty good. Again, the sound profile, a little bit looser on the keys, a little bit of a clackier sound signature. However, it's been performing for me great. And a long time ago, before I did switch over to Wooting or these rapid trigger Hall effect style keyboards, I did game on these Razer keyboards for many years. So I do feel like that there is some room out there in the market where this keyboard can still easily be a good option for you. I've been playing a lot of Diablo on it, and even the wireless functionality as I've been gaming on it. That's mostly what I've been using it for and testing it out. It has been performing really solid for me. So if you guys do have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.